What is up guys, my name is the Soars, and I know it's another one of those commentaries where I've got to explain once again that I am not dead, but I mentioned on my Twitter a little while back that I was going away for a couple of weeks to do a few projects, so to speak, and I was going to be very busy, and I wasn't planning on posting more than a video a week for this week, this week just gone, and for next week as well. But obviously, over the last few days, things kind of changed a bit because basically, for some strange reason, even though I haven't been posting videos, I've got about 30 subscribers, and that pushed me up to the 500 subscriber mark. And I really just wanted to thank you guys for that, because you know, when you're not a partnered channel or anything, the only thing that really drives you to keep doing videos, for me at least, because it's definitely not trying to get money. It's just the feedback from you guys and the positive stuff from you guys and trying to improve and just making videos and playing the games and getting the good gameplays and showing them off, that kind of thing really drives me on. And the whole subscriber thing, it's something that I'm not used to, just because on my old channel I was doing this kind of Battlefield deal. I was doing it for such a long time, and I only ever got to like 200 subscribers or something. And now I've been on my new channel for about 5 months or so, or something like that, and I'm already at 500 subscribers. I'm just amazed by it. I think it's great. I think it's amazing. I never expected this kind of thing to happen. I didn't even realize it was happening until I got a message from Ruskov letting me know that I'd hit 500 subscribers. I was really surprised by that, and I just wanted to say thank you. I know a lot of YouTubers will be saying this all the time, and I don't want to make this too cheesy. I don't want to waste everyone's time, because I've got quite a few things to talk about, but I just really want to say thank you for all the subscribers and the views and everything, because of course, while I've been away, also my M5K video hit 20k views. I hit 40k views overall, and it's just amazing. I can't thank you guys enough for getting me back on track on this new channel. I really am enjoying myself more than I was on my old one, and it's great. And I'm nearly finished on the montage, so you should see that soon. I might post. I'm probably gonna do the usual thing I do: spam that all over community channels. Not really. I'll send it to Revive or something like that, just leave it. But again, thank you very much. But obviously the thing that I really need to talk about is Battlefield 4, or rather the announcement of the Battlefield 4 beta, because a lot of people have been talking to me on Twitter about all the problems they have with it not being Bad Company 3, this, that and the other, and I want to address the concerns, and I want to address a wish list of mine. So the first thing that a lot of people have been concerning themselves about is the time period, the time scale. I don't know why this is, but everyone seems to think that because Battlefield 4 is releasing 2 years after Battlefield 3, everyone seems to think that it's some sort of Call of Duty-ish, Call of Duty-esque release schedule, and it's alarming everyone greatly. I don't understand quite why this is the case. You know, even throughout the rest of time, so to speak, the rest of the time that DICE has been making games, they've released games on roughly a 2-year schedule. The game that everyone seems to fantasize about is obviously Bad Company 2. That was released less than 2 years after the original Bad Company, and no one was complaining about a Call of Duty style release schedule then. Yes, Battlefield 3 came out a long time after Battlefield 2 was launched, but really that's not too much. That's has to be kind of held under review, to be honest, in my view, because I think Battlefield 3 is more like the Bad Company franchise in the multiplayer than Battlefield 2, than it's like Battlefield 2. The maps are much more linear. The gameplay is much more close quarters. There are less open maps. You know, you got rush and all this kind of stuff, and it feels a lot more like Bad Company 2 than it does feel like Battlefield 2, as it were. I hope that makes sense. But I just don't really understand the whole problem behind that. I just wanted to clear that up. You know, just don't worry about the release schedule. DICE have got everything in hand. There's nothing wrong with the release schedule. I don't know quite why people are fretting over all this, but Don't be alarmed by the release schedule. It's nothing new, nothing unusual. It's certainly not something that DICE have not done before, and it's not going to take away from the quality of the eventual game, Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 beta, everyone. This is linked into what I just said, but it is coming in fall 2013. Just wanted to clear that up. So it potentially could be following the same release dates as Battlefield 3, so in October, late September, early October beta, and a late October, early November release. It's not releasing anytime soon. In other words, it's it's over a year away. There's nothing. It's nothing major. It's not really a major announcement. I was expecting it. I didn't really think it was going to be. It's not really something that's unexpected, but it is something that that people seem to think for some reason that this game is going to come out really soon, etc. And for the people who think that this is going to take away from the overall quality of Battlefield 3's patches and things like that, because I've seen people complaining a lot about, oh well, Battlefield 3 is broken, it's got XYZ problems, and you can't possibly make another game, it's pathetic, you're money whoring, etc, etc. I just want to go over the team structure behind DICE, okay? Inside DICE itself, there are 4 main teams, as far as I know. I'm not too sure about this, but I think there's 4 or 5 different teams within the Battlefield, within DICE itself. There's the team that works on the Frostbite engines, so they're the team that make all the improvements for the engines for all the new games, stability and all that kind of stuff. There's the team that works on Battlelog, which I'm not really too sure how big that is, but I don't know whether it's how independent it is from DICE itself, but that's another team. The other team is the Battlefield main team, who make all the Battlefield games themselves, so they would be making Battlefield 4 now. They would have been developing the Battlefield 3 main game, Bad Company 2, etc. And then there's sort of 2 other teams that work on the. The 2 other teams are basically one team, but it's the post-launch support team. They do patches and they do DLC, so it's 2 splits, as it were. And they're the teams that work on all the DLC and all the patches, as I said. And those teams don't sort of merge together. Those teams are set, so it's not going to make any. The fact that they're developing a Battlefield 4, which was going to happen anyway. You don't just develop a game in 6 months after your DLC structure finishes. It's all individual teams working independently on different projects. So I don't really know where that comes from either. It's just one of those things, I suppose. As in terms of the game, Battlefield 4, I think Battlefield 4 anyway will be a lot better than Battlefield 3 was, just because I think with Battlefield 3 a lot of the time, and you can still see it with all the problems that are with the engine, the parachute system, the destruction system, sound glitches, graphical things like people sticking into walls and merging with walls and that kind of thing. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel as though Battlefield 3 was more a case of getting to grips with a new engine than it was a case of making a really fantastic game. I think they spent more time trying to get to grips with the engine than they did on working on gameplay. I think that will be the key difference with Battlefield 4, and that would be that Battlefield 4 really will be more about the gameplay, will have more new features, and it won't be just a case of getting to grips with a new engine again, because that's what Battlefield 3 was. I feel like it was just it was the first time working with a new Frostbite 2 engine, and I feel like they were just sort of trying to get to grips with that, as opposed to actually develop loads and loads of new content. I think that's generally what happened. I know there are a lot of problems with Battlefield 3. I made a really long list once upon a time of the things that I thought needed to be fixed with Battlefield 3 patches, but I mean, it's not something that I think is going to make any difference. It's not going to have any impact put upon it by the fact that DICE are developing a Battlefield 4. There's nothing really there that's gonna change the post-launch support that we get with Battlefield 3, the DLC program that we get that's already all pretty much announced and all pretty much sorted. It's not going to detract from that in any way. I think people are kind of sort of making strange assumptions about how the game is going to be detracted from by this announcement. I mean, it's fall 2013 even, which is a long way away. There's nothing soon or anything like that. Bad Company 3 versus Battlefield 4. A lot of people have been sort of complaining that it's not going to be a Bad Company 3 that's going to be released. It's going to be a Battlefield 4. I don't really know where that comes from either. If it's about the campaign characters, no one cares, to be frank, because the campaigns in Battlefield 3 are all pretty much apocalyptic. I will go over apocalyptically bad, that is. I will go over what I think they should do with Battlefield 4 in another commentary. I will do a sort of wish list video on Battlefield 3, and that will kind of clear up my stance on this a little bit more so. But I do think that, you know, Bad Company 3 and Battlefield 4 wouldn't be particularly different apart from the campaign and the characters in the campaign, and that's really not the important thing in Battlefield at all. So I just wanted to say I don't really know where the concern is behind that. Bad Company 3, the Bad Company 3 multiplayer is almost identical to the Battlefield 3 multiplayer. It's not identical. I think Bad Company 2 had a lot more polish on it than Battlefield 3 did, but that's again to be expected because Bad Company 2 was built in, I think, on an engine that was used and had been used for several years before Bad Company 2 was released. So as I was going over earlier, there'd be a lot more. The development teams themselves had a lot more experience with the original Frostbite engine than they did with Frostbite 2, which is of course what this game was built on, which is what Battlefield 3 was built on. So I think it's going to be a different experience. It's going to be interesting. I think the multiplayer wouldn't be very different if it was a Bad Company game over the Battlefield 4 that's been released. I don't think there's anything to be worried about. If you want Bad Company 3 multiplayer gameplay, there's no reason why. If you want Bad Company 2 style gameplay in Battlefield 4, there's no reason why that won't exist. It's just something that people seem to be complaining about a lot, and I just wanted to clear that up as well. As I said earlier, Battlefield 3 feels a lot more like the Bad Company franchise than it does feel like the like Battlefield 2, as I mentioned, the original Battlefield 2 from 2005 or whenever it was launched. So I just wanted to sort of answer those questions because it does. It seems a bit. I hate all these kind of misconceptions and misinformation on the new games that are coming out, especially when it comes to Battlefield. And I do like defending the overall development teams and the overall game franchise, and I like clearing things up. I just think it's something that needs to be done by someone. So until next time, guys, I will go over my wish list in the next video, but take care and goodbye.